On August 20th, Knicks fans will be praying to the basketball gods that the Knicks will get the number one pick. But unfortunately, that's not likely to happen. The Knicks only have a 9% chance at getting the number one pick, and they could even fall to the number 9 or the number 10 pick. The suicide hotline will be definitely ringing if the Knicks fall back to the number 10 pick. But in all seriousness, if the Knicks get unlucky and fall anywhere from the 8th to the 10th pick in the draft, they shouldn't panic. Sure, the Knicks won't be able to draft the top players in this draft like LaMelo Ball, but there will still be solid players available if they fall back. One scenario that I think the Knicks should consider if they fall back is trading down. The reason why teams trade down in the draft sometimes is if they're not enamored by the players who will be available when they're picking, so they trade down to get a player they like more while getting an additional asset. So for example, a couple of years ago, the Celtics traded down from 1st to 3rd in the 2018 draft. They got the player they preferred anyway in Jason Tatum and got an additional draft pick as well. Danny Ainge even said before the draft that he was confident that the guy he truly wanted at number 1 would still be there at pick number 3. So if the Knicks fall back anywhere from the number 8 pick to the number 10 pick, I think they should consider trading down to not only get a good player, but also receive a useful asset. There's 2 players that could fall back to the draft at the end of the lottery that I would consider trading down for, and that's RJ Hampton and Devin Vassell. So in this video, I'm going to discuss why I'm interested in trading down for these guys, and I will discuss some potential trade down scenarios. Before we continue, if you like videos like this, please like and subscribe, as your support helps me to produce more dope content. Now let's continue. The first player that I think the Knicks should trade down for is Devin Vassell. He's currently ranked 16th on ESPN's draft big board. Vassell is a 6'7" wing player out of Florida State. He's never going to be a star, but Vassell will be a great role player and he could very easily have a very long NBA career. Vassell reminds me a lot of Trevor Ariza. Ariza was a great 3-and-D role player that pretty much helped every team he was a part of win. On Florida State, Vassell averaged 12.7 points per game and 5.1 rebounds while shooting 49% from the field, 41.5% from 3, and 73.8% from the free throw line. As we can see from his stats, Vassell is a knockdown shooter. He shot above 40% from 3 in both of his years at Florida State. His shot has a high release point, and he gets the shot off fast, making it difficult to defend. If he's chased off the 3-point line, Vassell could take one dribble and make it a pull-up jumper in the mid-range, or he could take it all the way to the basket. For the most part, this is the role that Vassell will play on offense. He isn't someone that has an off-the-dribble game, so he won't be doing much creation, but he'll be a really nice spot-up shooter and complementary player on offense at the next level. Where Vassell really excels is on the defensive end. With his excellent physical tools at 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan, high motor, and basketball IQ, he's a great defender. Devin Vassell has good lateral movement to contain ball handlers, and even if they do get by him, he's a good recovery defender where he can come from behind and get the block, which is a huge part of the reason why he averaged 1 block a game for Florida State. He's also a great team defender. Thanks to his physical tools and high defensive IQ, he's extremely disruptive. He plays the passing lanes really well and is often able to deflect passes for steals. He rotates really well on defense and can use his left to protect the rim or to close out hard on shooters. Vassell won't ever be a star player, but he's got the high quality 3-and-D potential that every contender needs. For the Knicks, this is a player that they can start right away. They could very easily start Vassell at the 3 next to RJ Barrett at the 2 next season. Between Vassell, RJ Mitch, and Frank Ntilikina, the Knicks will really have the opportunity to put the clamps on other teams. The next player that I think the Knicks should consider trading down for is RJ Hampton. RJ is one of the most underrated players in this draft in my opinion. He was actually projected to be a top 5 pick last year, but his draft stock took a hit after an underwhelming season in the NBL. The main reason why RJ Hampton was held in such high regard was his incredible physical tools and athleticism for the point guard position. RJ is 6'5" with a long 6'7" wingspan, and he's extremely fast with serious bounce. On the season in the NBL, Hampton averaged 8.8 points, 3.9 boards, and 2.4 assists on 41% shooting from the field, 29% from 3, and 68% from the free throw line. This looks like underwhelming production, but he only did this in 20 minutes per game and in a small sample size of just 15 games in one of the most competitive leagues in the world. Thanks to his ball handling skills and athleticism, RJ Hampton gets to the rim at will, and he's a strong finisher at the rim. He has an aggressive play style. He's always in attack mode and often looks to push the ball up in transition for fast break opportunities. He's pretty right-hand dominant, but he has good touch and nice moves at the rim, making him a strong finisher. He also is a very willing passer when he gets into the paint. He isn't a great playmaker like LaMelo Ball, but he has potential to be a good playmaker. RJ Hampton's main weakness on offense is definitely his outside shooting. His shooting numbers in the NBA were pretty rough. Developing a better outside shot would really open up his game, as he's already a really good slasher. Defensively, RJ Hampton has the potential to be a good defender at the next level thanks to his size and athleticism, but he still has a lot to work on. He does play the passing lanes well, as he averaged 2 steals a game for 36 minutes, but Hampton is still pretty thin at just 185 pounds, so he'll need to put on weight to guard bigger, stronger players. Because of his lack of strength, he often has a hard time navigating through screens. RJ Hampton has the potential to be the Knicks' long-term point guard of the future, but he won't be very good right away, as he still has a lot of holes in his game. But in 3 years, he could be a very good point guard. He's the type of player that you could label a project. It's already been reported that the Knicks have interest in RJ Hampton, so this is a player that the Knicks could target in a potential trade down scenario. So now that we know 2 prospects that the Knicks should be interested in that could fall at the end of the lottery, we're going to discuss trade scenarios in case the Knicks fall down in the draft. So in order to think of a trade scenario, we need to think of a team that's willing to trade up. A team that I think could be willing to trade up is the San Antonio Spurs. Right now, the Spurs have the 12th worst record in the NBA. So let's say the Knicks get unlucky in the lottery and get the 8th pick, the Knicks could trade with the Spurs. In this trade, the Knicks will send the 8th pick to the Spurs, and in return, they get the 12th pick and they get Jakob Poeltl. The reason the Spurs do this trade is because they would like to trade up in order to get Deni Avdija. Deni Avdija is one of the top international prospects in this draft, and the Spurs have a strong history of selecting and developing foreign players. Deni is ranked in the top 5 on most sites, but I can't see him falling to the 7th or 8th pick depending on the teams that end up in the top 5. In this trade, the Knicks move down to the 12th pick to get RJ Hampton or Devin Vassell, and they also get a nice player in Jakob Poeltl. Most fans don't know much about him unless they watch Spurs games, but he's actually a very solid center. Poeltl is a 7-foot center who's a very good rebounder and rim protector. He averages 1.4 blocks a game despite only playing 18 minutes a night. With Poeltl, the Knicks could have the perfect backup center behind Mitchell Robinson and have 48 minutes of rim protection. On offense, Poeltl isn't jumping out the gym, but he is a solid roll man out the pick and roll. He's essentially a good modern center, and he's still pretty young at 24, so he could be a nice backup going forward, and he could be part of the Knicks' young core. In the next trade down scenario, the Knicks are going to trade with a team just outside the lottery and the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers will have the 16th pick, but I do think there's a chance that RJ Hampton and Devin Vassell could still be available at pick number 16. So let's say the Knicks get extremely unlucky and fall to the 10th pick. In this trade, the Knicks give up the number 10 pick to the Blazers in exchange for the 16th pick and Nasir Little. Little is a very intriguing prospect. He was actually projected at one point to be a top 5 pick last year, but he fell to the 25th pick for the Blazers after an underwhelming season in North Carolina. Little has the potential to be an excellent two-way player. He's very athletic, and he's 6'6" with a long 7'2" wingspan, but he didn't play much in his rookie year, and his game is still pretty raw. The Blazers are a team that's trying to compete now, so they will trade him to move up for a win-now player. With the 10th pick, the Blazers will select Aaron Nesmith out of Vanderbilt, a knockdown shooter who defends really well. With this trade, the Knicks will still be in a position to select a good player at pick number 16, but they will also get a very intriguing prospect in Nasir Little, who could be a part of the young core going forward. In the last trade, the Knicks are going to trade with the Washington Wizards. The Wizards have the 9th worst record, but they could also fall back to the 10th or even the 11th pick. If the Knicks fall back to the 8th pick, they're going to trade the 8th pick to the Washington Wizards for the 11th pick and Thomas Bryant. By moving up, the Wizards are going to put themselves in a position to select a better prospect, and here they're going to select Onyeka Okongwu. With this trade, the Knicks get a really solid center in Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant is very athletic with a long 7'6" wingspan, and he's one of the rare stretch fives in the league, shooting about 40% from 3 this season. With this trade, the Knicks not only get a chance to still get a good player with the 11th pick, but they're also getting themselves a really nice backup center behind Mitchell Robinson. So, that's going to be the end of the video. Do you like my trade down scenarios? Should the Knicks trade down if they end up getting screwed in the lottery? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.